Alright, welcome back. So since last time, I got the back filled with the clear epoxy. Got it sanded down with some 80 grit. Had some pretty good pooling almost the whole way around. You can see it filled in those surface cracks with blue. Worked pretty well. I think not clamping it was definitely the move. I also dremeled and re-poured that crack so that it's blue the whole way down. So today we're just going to be finished sanding the top and working at the sides and getting all that cleaned up and get one step closer to being done. Okay, so the tools I'm using is 3-inch by 21-inch belt sander on the left. I just run that with 80 grit most of the time to get all the imperfections out of the wood and kind of burn marks or the extra epoxy that's on top. And then I finish sanding it with the DeWalt 5-inch palm random orbital disc sander. I usually continue with 80 grit and then step up 120, then 220. And then I top it off with a little bit of hand sanding with some 330. So that gets it about as smooth as necessary for a coffee table, I think. The sides I will sand with 80 grit and 120. Mostly with the palm sander. I might do some hand sanding on that as well, just to get that to the perfect smoothness. Okay, so I sanded about this quarter here with the disc sander with 80 grit, and it's really not taking out the imperfections as fast as I would like it to. So I'm actually going to switch back to the belt sander with some 120 and try to get the 80 grit scratches from the belt sander out with that first, and then go to the disc sander for a more finished look. Okay, now we got her down, sanded up with the 220 grit. So I'm going to put some water on there to raise the grain, and then we'll give it one final go with the 220 grit, and then maybe a little hand sanding. You can see it's really starting to smoothen out, and you can see the patterns sort of in the epoxy with the powder in there. It is just absolutely beautiful. Can't wait to get a finish on this. Okay, so while that is drying, before I can sand it, I'm going to be working on the legs. This is a white ash, same as the top, live edge slab I got. I was originally just going to let it like this, just cut them down to size and try to square them up and build a little top on it before I mount it onto the actual top. But I think what I'm going to do is actually cut it in half, lengthwise, at least part of the way, and do little river legs on it. So I think that'll give it a nice touch, get a little more of the epoxy in there to really tie the legs together with the top, and I think it'll come out pretty good. Okay, so we have the legs set up, ready to pour the epoxy. We're going to fill it with the same crystal blue Baltic Day powder as the top to tie everything together. I just made this little form out of some plywood and some junk pine that I had laying around. Wrapped everything in tape, siliconed it all up good so that we hopefully don't have any leaks. I'm using epoxy from the Epoxy store, epoxy resin store. It's made in America. I really enjoy it. I think I like it a little bit better than the Dr. Crafty. So we'll see how this turns out. Alright, so we got the epoxy poured in the legs of the table. So that'll take 24 hours to harden and about 72 to fully cure. All we got to do is finish sanding the tabletop and getting some walrus oil on that to finish it up, and then mounting the legs after I plane them, sand them, and cut them to length, and then it's pretty well done.